In today's classic breakdown series, we're going to learn the tune Wings. Stay tuned. Well, hello everybody, I'm Matt Willis Bagpiper, and on this channel I make videos to make you a stronger and more confident piper. If you like this kind of content, please think about giving the video a like and subscribing to the channel. I also teach Skype and online lessons if you want more personalized instruction, but more on that later. We continue the classic tune breakdown series today with the tune Wings, a classic tune often paired with Scotland the Brave and the Rowan Tree, which were the first two videos in this series, so go check those out. The idea with this classic breakdown series is that we're going to take the tune and we're going to slow it down by 4 times, stretching the notes out visually and in their timing so that we can spell out all the ornamentation to clean it up, put it properly on the beat or before the beat or wherever it's supposed to fall. This is a great way to either learn the tune initially to make sure you have no mistakes in it, or to rebuild a tune that might be a little bit messy, or even yet still to perfect a tune you're already playing well. But even I've been able to find things in these tunes 27 years into this journey that I've been able to improve using this method. In the description below, there's a link to the PDF document we have here, so go ahead, print that out, put it on a tablet, have it in front of you so you can follow along. So today we're going to take the first 4 measures or 2 phrases of the tune Wings, and we're going to slow it down from 4/4 all the way down to 16/4, meaning the quarter notes are going to get stretched out to whole notes. They're going to be 4 times as long. The half notes will be stretched out to, well, 2 whole notes. The eighth notes are going to be a half note. And more importantly, the notes within the ornaments, the sounding tones, if you will, the low G's in a tarlua, the C in the middle of a C doubling, those are going to go from looking like grace notes to being spelled out as eighth notes in this exercise. It'll all be clear as we work through this. For the very beginner out there, you do need to understand the basic notes, the basic grace notes, and how to change notes with grace notes. If those are things you don't yet have under control, check out this playlist we have right here, which is my basic series, which will lead you all the way through these in the first dozen or so videos. At that point, you'd be ready to jump into this. For the more advanced player wanting to perfect this tune, do your best to kind of forget about what you know of the tune Wings and try to really just read the notes on the page as you see them. This is about rebuilding some of the perhaps slightly messy technique you might have in there. And if you just go and do the same thing again, it's not going to fix it. So read what you're seeing on the page. To begin with, we're going to start on an E, and we're going to a G grace note down to a low A. So pointer finger up, both fingers down smartly, and then we can see we're going to be heading into the future tarlua, but right now it's spelled out again. Those low G's are now being represented by eighth notes, and we can see that quarter note A, which should otherwise be a whole note, is actually a dotted half note. That is a 3-beat long note, because the tarlua subtracts its time from the note before. So that A is actually a little shorter than it'd be otherwise to make room for these 2 low G's. So from that A, we'll head down to a G. We'll separate the G with a D grace note, the bottom pointer finger, back up with an E grace note to the A, and we'll hold that one for a little over 2 beats before we head up to a B, and this B is going to take us down to 2 more low G's. This is going to be the grip to C, again spelled out here. So from the B, we'll smartly get both fingers down to low G, separate it with that D grace note again to a second low G, and up to a nice long C. Let's try it, no metronome, just nice and slow, see how it goes. Do that a few times without a metronome first to make sure that you can get all of the note changes good, clean, and accurate. When you can do that, go ahead, get a metronome going, and see if you can put it on the beat. We're going to be at 88 here, which is about where it goes at full speed when the quarter note is equal to one of these. But again, spelling it out by 4 times. That's right, that C is going to be 6 full beats long. When it's in the full tune written out, it is a dotted quarter note, which would be a beat and a half. A beat and a half times 4 is 6. Moving on from here, we'll do C to E. Just make sure you avoid the crossing noise here as we make this change. It's all about making sure that top ring finger has gotten out of the way before these bottom fingers return down to the chanter so we don't get the type noise in there. Then we'll get a G grace note to F, which is lifting the top two fingers, lowering that pointer finger to get to the F. We'll hang on that for 3 beats. Down to an E, which is just lowering the middle finger. Then another G grace note to F, that's the same thing we just did. Both fingers up, 1 down, and then up to a high A, which is the thumb off, ring finger down. I'm going to start on that E, leading into the next bar, and we're going to go up to that high A. Then from that high A, we're heading down to what would be a half E doubling in the full version. But again here, spelled out, high A down to E, making sure that as we do this, we get that ring finger out of the way to avoid the cross. And then we'll do an F grace note, that middle finger. That one's a little hard to get nice and chirpy. We don't want it too big, but we don't want to squeeze it too tight either. Work on this one, get that nice and chirpy. Then we'll hold that E for 3.5 beats before doing a G grace note down to C, and then a D grace note to separate that C. That is a C doubling. That will be spelled out right here. We'll hold that C for 1.5 beats after we do the D grace note before heading up to an E again. Again, making sure to get that ring finger out of the way to avoid the cross, and then a G grace note to F. Let's start on that high A before this and do this little bit here. Let's start from the beginning of this tune, getting to the F, starting the second line of this particular spelled out version with the metronome. See how it goes. From this F, we're going to head up to a high G. I often call this the most forgotten note on the instrument, especially for the beginning player. This one just isn't used a lot in the early repertoire, and people often want to keep another finger down. Remember, a good high G in our kill, beg, or light music is just the thumb with the bottom hand in the A position. Before, again, heading up to the high A, thumb off, ring finger down. Then from here down to an F, G grace note to E, so this is the opposite direction of what we've done on a few of these. Pointer up, both down smartly. Don't let that middle finger come down early. You can kind of hear if that one lands before both of them smartly together. So one up, both down. Both down. Then avoiding the cross to C, this time making sure we get these two, the middle and a ring on the bottom out of the way before snapping the top ring and pinky down. Then we'll do a G grace note to B, followed by a D grace note on B, a spelled out B doubling right there. And then we'll head down to a low G and then up to an A. This is the low G catch, or sometimes just called the low G grace note, but it is a note we want to hear. As you head down from B to low G, think about getting that pinky down and letting the ring finger come along for the ride rather than initiating anything with that ring finger, because you might get up. We don't want a little run through the A. We want to be able to get smartly down to that G. We'll spend 2 beats on that A, and then we'll do a G grace note from A to B. Let's start on that F right there. We'll get the metronome up and go through this bar up to the B, starting the next one. All right, to wrap up this phrase, we're going to head up to a C, middle up, pinky down, and then we have a spelled out light D throw. For this classic series breakdown, I am using light D throws when I'm playing slowly. If you want to slow down a heavy D throw in some way that works for you, go for it. I personally am just going to do light D throws in this. It's a good, clean, easy way to get through this, and as you speed it up, if you like heavy D throws, they're easy enough to throw in there. And if you don't know what a heavy D throw is, Up in one of these corners is the link to the heavy D throw. That being said, we're going to do a spelled out light D throw here. So you can see the low G, up to a D, down to a C, and then up to another D. But we're not on that D for very long before we head down to a C. And then we do a G grace note to B and a D grace note on B. So from C, top pointer, down to B, separate here. That's the spelled out B doubling again. Before we pop up to the E, again, avoiding that cross by getting that top ring up before the bottom one comes down. And not avoid the cross. Then we have another light D throw here. We're heading down to low G, so everything down. Up to a D. I do a little pivot in the wrist to get up to this D. You don't want to exaggerate it. You don't have to be crazy. But trying to limit it just to the fingers can sometimes give a little bit of a run. Get the wrist involved. It can kind of help get that D nice and clean. Down to a C. Up to a D. Then we're heading down to a B. And then to finish this, it's the G grace note to an A, which is technically starting the next bar, but it kind of ends this phrase at the same time. So we're going to start now on the B, right there, with the metronome at 88. It might not sound like much right now, but I promise you that is wings spelled out slowly, and if you can do that cleanly, you're well on your way to perfecting this tune at full speed. In this video, we're going over just the first line of wings, though that has many of the things you'll need to make sure the entire tune is clean. That said, if you wanted a spelled out version of this entire tune, there are two ways you can get that. You could head to the link that's down in the description below, or you can see on screen where you can purchase the full version of Wings with all 4 lines of the tune spelled out like this with 10 play-along MP3 files at the various speeds so that you can play along with this on your practice channel to ensure you're getting this correct. Or you can head over to my Patreon and join at the Thistle or higher level and get access to not only Wings, but every tune that's in the Classic Series breakdown, which at this point also includes The Rowan Tree and Scotland the Brave, but I have no plans to stop this anytime soon. Eventually there'll be lots and lots and lots of tunes in this. I'm having a great time breaking these down, and most importantly, it's improving my playing as I do this. Also, the support of purchasing these or joining the Patreon goes a really long way. I want to try to avoid putting any of the sponsored ads in the middle of my videos. That's like, I don't like watching that in videos, but you know, these videos don't make themselves. So any support that you guys can offer to help the channel is greatly appreciated. All right, let's take a look at this tune in 8/4 or half speed. It's going to start sounding an awful lot more like the melody you know as Wings, but it's still going to be slow and you can still see everything spelled out. We're not going to talk about the individual note changes because we already did that, but I am going to play here just line 1 of the exercise or breakdown here as shown, still at 88, and we'll see how it goes. If that's too fast for you, slow it down. In fact, I'm going to do that right now. Let's put this down from 88 down to, I don't know, how about 72? If you can't keep up with the metronome or you find that the beat is just kind of wandering around your playing, find a speed you can play with. That's the most important thing. And if it needs to be slower, slow it down more. Let's try it one more time at 60. Now into line 2 of the half-speed version. Let's stick this back up. I don't know, let's go in the middle. Let's try 80. Now let's move to the tune at full speed, but you can see here in this third section, of the sheet, it's spelled out with the ornamentation still being real notes rather than series of grace notes jumbled together. Again, to help show you where we're holding notes and what the timing should be. You can see it's perhaps a little confusing, but this is in many ways far closer to what we're really playing than the ornamented version underneath. We're going to keep the metronome at 80 here, and we're going to try both of the lines on the page here. See how it goes. That's quite quick. There's a lot of stuff going on. Let's try that one more slowly. At 66. And then you can see at the bottom of the page here, the tune, Wings, the first two phrases as normally written with all the ornamentation. Not going to play it again because it sounds like the one I just did. Now let's take a second to listen to me from a few years ago playing Wings on the full Highland pipes. There you go, everybody. The first line of Wings for free down below in the description. But if you wanted the whole tune, head over to the link you see on screen now or in the description, or join at the Thistle level or higher on the Patreon, and you'll have access not only to Wings at the Patreon level, but all other tunes. Well, thank you so much for watching, everybody. If you got something out of this video, please think about giving it a like, subscribing to the channel, and commenting below with any thoughts you might have. And I've talked about Patreon a number of times in this video. You'll see names now, folks, scrolling up. These are folks that support the channel on a monthly basis. I'd love to add your name to this list. You often get early access to videos and other perks, and again, at the Thistle and higher level, access to this classic breakdown series, so go check out the Patreon. I also teach Skype and online lessons. Go ahead and head over to www.commandyourbagpipe.com or email me at the address you see here, and we'll get you going. I'm working with folks from all over the planet, and I hope to work with you soon. There's also a line of Command Your Bagpipe merchandise, like this Highland Bagpipe embellishment tree here, which helps you with the timing of every Highland Bagpipe ornament that I could think of, plus it looks good on your wall. But there's also the prescription line of bagpipe merchandise like this mug, as well as hoodies and t-shirts and hats from the Command Your Bagpipe line, so go let the world know that you command your bagpipe. Thank you again for watching, everybody, and until next time, I'm Matt Willis. Cheers.